podcast from Peach 2020, hosted by Peter Martin.
Hello, I'm Peter Martin, founder of Peach 2020, the international network for senior executives, entrepreneurs, and influencers from across the hospitality sector. Welcome to the latest edition in our series of Top Table podcasts, which see me in conversation with some of the biggest names in the business, the real market movers and shakers. Today, we have something a little different and special. It's a recording of the head-to-head interview I did as part of our Peach 2020 summer meetup in June. My guest is Roger Wade, the founder and until recently CEO of the groundbreaking food hall meets entertainment space that is Boxpark. We recorded it at Boxpark Wembley in front of a live audience and talked about his roller coaster career, building two iconic brands, what the future has in store, and much more. So, here's the irrepressible, provocative, and inspiring Roger Wade. You are in for a treat. Roger, welcome.
Thank you.
How can I say welcome? I mean, you know this place better than anybody else. This is Boxpark, the brand you developed. And before we start talking about your journey, as it were, and your advice for young entrepreneurs, you've actually sort of stepped away in the last couple of days. You're no longer CEO. You're still founder. No one can take that away from you. You're an NED. So what prompted that? And then the other question is, what are you going to do next? So
I was knackered.
Seems a good heart.
I think when you set out as a CEO or as an entrepreneur, you've got to have a beginning and end of the story. And to be honest, I was, from a emotional perspective, coming to the end of my journey with Boxpark. I'm getting a bit older. I always wanted to retire when I was 55, and the idea of like carrying on another 10 years as a CEO Boxpark, I think Steve Redgrave once famously said, "I'd rather be shot." So it just wasn't for me. I just wanted to step down, really, and there was the money on the table, which sort of helped that decision.
Yeah. So I mean, that's interesting. So people always say you need the exit in mind, particularly in terms of the company or the enterprise you're in, but you've done it in terms of the career as well. You know, it was a finite time for you to be at the helm of a growing and successful business like this.
Yeah, I mean, I used to have another business, Box Fresh, and it took me 18 years to exit that business. So for me, in this business, I really swore to myself that, I'm going to exit in 5 years in this business. It took me 10 years, but I think it's, as I said before, really important to have an exit strategy and prepare an exit strategy. I think far too many entrepreneurs start their journey in business and don't understand that beginning and end, and don't understand the exit strategy, and don't understand the importance of IP. You can pay me later. And you have to have those plans. So it's absolutely key. I'm in a really mischievous mood today, so I'm ready to throw some grenades.
When aren't you in a mischievous mood?
I'm in a really mischievous. Come on, let's go.
I spent 3 days in Miami with you recently. I know your mischievous moods. However, going back, I mean, in terms of doing the deal now, I mean, how long did it take, and did it change because of what's happened in the last 2 years?
Yeah.
Because we need, in a sense, that's what today's about. Understanding how much or how little the market's changed.
But I've just confirmed my second earn out, so I can speak more freely.
Right.
Before I had to be a little bit cautious. So, I mean, something I've never told anyone. I think a big, yes, I had my own personal journey of wanting to retire when I was 55, but Brexit for me was a big decision in it all, because, I will keep going back on this. I think it's fundamentally a game changer for this country. It's the single biggest economic decision that's been made in this country that's been such a fuck up, to be honest. So, and I think the more and more that our hospitality industry actually calls it for what it is, the better. And I'm sick of not hearing from our government or more political opposition about the impact of Brexit on wage inflation, for instance. And by the way, no way is it 9%. That's including the public sector that they don't give any wage increases to. When you take the private sector, you're looking at 20%. So for me, my going back to that original question, my reasons for selling were very much revolved around, wanting to retire when I was 55, being concerned about the future economic conditions. I'm not sure if I would want to run into another business sort of right now, so I think it's going to be a very difficult time in the market, but that doesn't mean it's not a bad time to start a business. I think it's going to be those incumbent businesses that have got large overheads and, lots of sites that are really going to struggle. I mean, when you look at the market at the moment and you go into pret-a-manger, like for instance, the pret-a-manger that I went into, my local one in Shoreditch, it used to be absolutely packed. It used to be fantastic Spanish and Italian workers in there. And there was sort of one 17-year-old girl working there, no other staff, queues out of the store. And that's because they couldn't get the staff anymore. So I am really concerned for the recruitment situation that we got in our industry. I was trying to throw a grenade there, sort of went off track.
No, I think probably people agree with me. So there you go. So let's talk a bit about Boxpark, how you got into it, because I mean it's a bit quiet out there. Because when we got back from Miami, because you were on our Atlantic Club trip, you sent us this clip. I think we want to see to show
I'm gonna see a clip.
to show what it can be like. We got it. So it can be a bit special and a bit busy out there. I mean, is that what you hoped for and expected when you opened your first Boxpark?
I mean,
over in Shoreditch.
I didn't have a master plan, and anyone that says they have this sort of grand master plan, I'm not sure I really believe them, really. So, with me, my own journey, I don't know how far we want to go back. I came out of university.
But let's go back.
All right, my entrepreneurial journey. I wanted to be a doctor. That's because my mum wanted me to be a doctor. I did 1 week trial in a hospital. I was cleaning a geriatric guy's bottom, and he was like giving me racial insults, going, "You Japanese." And I came home that night and went, "Fuck this. I'm not doing this, Mum." So I just sort of went into any degree that would accept me, because I had to go through clearing, because I was, did maths, chemistry and biology. That was useful in my trade. And not. And then, so I did environmental science, and I spent half my time sort of arguing for corporations as opposed to against them. So that wasn't for me. And then I sort of started running nightclubs and hospitality business, got into that, and then came out of university, first 3 jobs in the trot, trial period, sack. So I was like, I'm not made out for employment. So I said I better employ myself. And I only had one love at that time, and that was sort of football, a few loves, football, girls, cricket, golf, and clothing. Yeah, a little bit of Brighton, not too much. But and I sort of, streetwear was just taking off. I set up a streetwear brand from a market store. And suddenly I found that I was quite good at something, because I actually enjoyed it. And that business took off, and it, I guess, became one of the founding sort of British streetwear brands. And I eventually sold it to Pentland Brands. I went to retire when I was 40. My wife hated that, so she kicked me out. And I set up a brand consultancy. That was rubbish, because I had great clients, but none of them listened to me, because they always thought they knew better, which is something I had to learn myself. So I decided, I had this idea, a germ of an idea, which was, as Steve Jobs said, I connected up the dots of my life, which was, I had a fascination with containers. Why? Because it was box fresh, and I had a container store. But also there was an emotional attachment with containers, because a container for me was a sign of success. One day I'm going to have enough goods to put in a container. I'm going to be really successful. And so I had this weird fascination with containers. And then I had a mate of mine in California. We're going to get somewhere with this story. And
it's all right, we got time.
And he, it'd be good. We'll get you all free drinks later, so it'll be worth it. And he had a retail development, Shaheen, in California. And he wasn't the most smartest bloke. So I thought, well, if he's got retail development, I can have one of them. And I just had a eureka moment in the middle of the night, which was, I'm going to build a whole retail development out of containers. And it was like connecting up the dots. I'd already had a couple of stores from containers that we had as trade show stands, and my mate had it. And then when we set up Boxpark Shoreditch, was like, yeah, we're going to do retail. And everyone has a food court upstairs. We'll just bung a food court upstairs. Don't worry about it. And then we opened for the Olympics. We had all the brands join us. It was absolutely great. And I was like really cocky about it. I was like, no, I'm not taking 5-year leases. I'm going to do 1-year leases because the rents are going to go up. It's only going to go one way. And then after Olympics, half the people left me. So I was like, all right, I better have plan B. And that was actually, in retrospect, the best thing that ever happened to us, because we then started to focus on getting footfall.
Yeah.
And we did some really pioneering things back in that day. So, one of the first to roll out Wi-Fi being available to everyone, doing pop-up terms from 1 week to 1 month to 3 months to 12 months, then starting to concentrate on the food, developing the social media side in terms of footfall. And I like to believe, in the same way that we built the first container development, that we were pioneers as well in terms of footfall generation, and really set the path for what a lot of the development industry then followed, because we just did it because we had to do it. We had to create footfall.
Yeah.
And then we just went with the flow, and then it was not streetwear, it was street food. And then the food was doing really good. And then the next minute, the licensing department said to us, we're going to close your operators down because they're all trading, they're discounting drinks, X, Y, and Z. And I said, well, listen, how about if I take over the bar? Just to stop the license being thrown out. And he went, okay, we'll let you keep your license, you take it over. And the rest is history. And, we're now as profitable on the bar as we are on the property side, if not more. We became a propco, opco. And then with a site like this, people just don't get it really, because they're so narrow-minded. They would come down and go and look at, Wembley Park, and they'll look at it on a day like this, because they would say it to me like, oh, it's not that busy. We took 250 grand here last week, because on a stadium day, you can't get in there, and they're in here for 8 hours drinking. So, we take proper serious money in this place, because all we looked at was 50 stadium days and 150, major events at Wembley Arena, and nowhere else for them to go at the time. And that was it. So it's the same with Croydon.
Yeah.
No one wanted to go to Croydon. It was right next to a station.
I used to have offices in Croydon. I used to want to go to Croydon.
You would have won.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's the short version.
Yeah, anyway. So, we you have built it. In terms of what's given you the most joy out of this then?
They're leaving already.
Are they really? No, he'll be back.
I thought I was trying to be good.
Exactly, he'll be back. In terms of what gives you the most joy about Boxpark as well, is it the entrepreneurs you've brought forward? Is it your own success? Is it the customers coming in?
My own success is bittersweet, because I was already pretty wealthy before I did the earn out on Boxpark, and it was a lovely earn out. But in the end, I don't need the money for anything else, because I had virtually everything I wanted. It's not, my mates have got loads of money, and they've also got the divorces to go along with it. And they've got the private jets and the yachts and all the overheads to go with that. So I don't really want that. So for me, it's, I know it sounds cliche, but it really isn't for me about the money. There's a real sense of pride in starting from nothing and delivering something really new and refreshing. But I absolutely love the feeling of bringing staff on board and being loyal to my team. We had a big incident last week with one of our security guys.
Yeah, no, it was on social media.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
And people were really freaked out by the fact the CEO actually stood by their staff. I just thought that's what you're meant to do. But I love what we're doing with our staff. I gave 10% of our company away to my staff. And I love seeing great tenants when they're not moaning at me and blaming me for everything. So, the ones that actually want to take care of their business and not expect me to wipe their bum again. You know, I really like them.
Yeah, like those. I mean, what does that say about entrepreneurs? Because I mean, you know what you've done. I mean, you've got a mix of some established brands here, but also a lot of young brands just starting out. I mean, is that entrepreneurial spirit still there with younger people?
Yeah, the entrepreneurial spirit is there with younger people, but they've just got to get a grip a little bit because, you know, they honestly think
But
the
it
world...
took you long enough to get a grip.
Well, I'm 55, so I don't consider myself young. I'm 56 actually now. But, you know, I mean, they seem to think that the world owes them everything. And you know, it's this sort of, you know, we recently applied or had a job vacancy for digital marketing manager. And pre-COVID, or a couple of years before, we had 5,000 applicants for the same position. This time we had 500, and we offered the job 5 times to 5 different people, and they wouldn't work for us because they wanted to work from home. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. It's a world gone wrong, you know, and entrepreneurs and CEOs need to grow, some balls and say, no, you'll work in the office. That's what we do. Because how could I expect my head office staff to work from home when I've got people directly on the front line working in bars with 2,000 people here? So we have to set the model for them. So with us, we have a work from home Friday policy. That's it. And it isn't work from home, by the way. Let me tell you, Friday productivity is 0. So it's a 4-day week we moved to. Should we just call it what it really is? But you know, we need people like Elon Musk sort of saying what they really did say. You know, if you're not prepared to work 40 hours in the office, consider yourself, you know, that you've handed in your resignation. So yeah, you know, if you want to achieve anything in life, you've got to work hard. You got Robin Rowland over there. He's not short of a penny or two. Look, he's here. He's here. You know, he's putting in the hard yards. Before I walked around here, I made sure to have a walk around with a management team and made a few comments because that's the detail's important.
Any questions for Roger from the...
Come on, I didn't throw enough grenades.
No, well...
Come and ask me some questions.
Any questions out there?
Shall I give you a fact?
There's one here. There we go.
Go on.
I love your honesty, Roger, in terms of...
That's because I don't have a boss anymore.
But the question I'd like to ask is, if you had your time all over again, what would you do differently, if anything?
Easy question. I'd enjoy the journey more. And I wouldn't be in such a rush to get from A to B and realise it's like a dance floor. It's the moves in between that really matter. And it was I needed to spend... I was the worst boss ever in my first business, a total egomaniac. Maybe I am a bit now, but at least I know I am. And I wish I spent more time bringing on board people and improved my leadership skills and was a bit more humbled and used my ears a bit more. So enjoy the journey, because if you enjoy the journey, you won't need to sell. Why would you sell? The journey's so good. You know, that's the key thing.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, come
Turn on. Yep.
Yeah.
Roger,
hey, Pete.
you're saying 55, retire,
56.
56 now.
Yeah.
What's next?
Fuck all. You know?
Come on. Apart
So-
from being in Ibiza,
No.
playing golf,
I think
and supporting Brighton.
I love
and
Mickey
Hove
Flanagan, so you know I just want to do fuck all. You know?
But after
but
fuck all, what happens?
No, after that's actually more profound than actually the way I'm saying it, because, and I wrote something on LinkedIn today that I think that, you know, we let our minds run away with ourselves, don't we? So your mind is constantly busy thinking about the next thing and what I'm going to do, and you're never in that moment. So, you know, I've got to get over the addiction of being a boss and working and actually learn to quieten my mind and be in control of it. So I want to take a 3-month sabbatical at least. I'm then going to educate my mind better by hopefully going on the Sloan Masters in Strategy and Leadership at LBS, which, you know, when I was a younger man, I went to LBS. And then I'm going to do some non-executive roles and investments in some businesses that I actually like with some people that will actually listen to me. That's it. And I'm going to do more public speaking, and I know you all. and more charity work. Yeah, do things that are good for the soul.
Good. Any more questions before I come back in? There's
I've
one
got a
back
question
there.
for
Yeah.
Roger. When you look around the industry, and be careful because there's lots of nice people in the room, is there any other business that you look at that you wish you'd either launched or thought of, or would be honoured to be invited back as an NED?
God, Jesus. God, any other businesses that I really wished I launched, or it's weird because there's one business out there which I think is sort of an evolution from Boxpark, but I think they're doing a better job than us in some ways, which is Incepio. I think that some of the things that they're on CPO, is it? On Incepio? Ed, is it? Yeah. So I think, what they're doing is quite exciting because, we sort of moved away from the pop-up because we got told by all these corporate finance guys that, they need security of 10-year, and that's the most important thing. Actually, Robin, I think you once said that to me at a dinner table. It's all about security of tenure. Well, maybe not, I like the fact that sometimes you're just there for 5 years on top of a rooftop. So I like that. And I like some of the sort of competitive socializing businesses out there, like sort of, I guess your sort of, your swingers and your flight club and stuff like that. Because again, it's more about entertaining the customer, really. Yeah.
Now, one of the things probably we talked about most during lockdown in terms of the odd telephone call or two was about the property issue and the relationship between landlords and tenants, particularly operators, and you having a foot in both camps in a sense.
Yeah.
It's still an issue. What is it going to be a problem that's going to be solved?
Yeah.
I mean, we started with even today, Alice talking about where British Land had done a lot of work. But I mean, what's your view on that? Because it's still a fundamental relationship in this market.
I mean, I'm a landlord and I'm an operator. I have major institutional landlords, and we I think came out in week 1 and said we were going to give all our tenants, rent free during the period of lockdown. I mean, and that wasn't just us being sort of helpful to our tenants, but because the reality is they weren't going to survive it. So and it was nice to see other people like Argent come out so quickly and in terms of that. So I mean, I'm a great believer in the physical world. I really am. I think our content is absolutely key. Our content is the food, the drinks, the environment that we have, the service that you get. And when sometimes I look at technology, I think some of it is technology gone mad. I know you've got some technology sponsors, but there's good technology. We use Harry's, don't worry. We use Mr. Yum. Yeah. There's good technology, but there's also some technology that I really question about how good that really is. So I'm not a big advocate of dark kitchens because the reality are dark kitchens are exactly what they say on the tin. They're often made in industrial estates, sometimes by franchisees. I remember just recently I had a Dishoom from a dark kitchen. Look, you're worried now, aren't you? I can see you twitching. I had a Dishoom. What a great brand that is from a dark kitchen, which was made by a franchisee, and it was meant to be lamb curry or whatever they call it. At the time, it's got a special flash name, but lamb curry. But it was mutton. It was really poor lamb, and I think that's the problem you get because it's more expensive than going to a Dishoom, or in many cases, delivery is. Well, hold on, let's ask the question. If you're a customer, and if you can go sit in Dishoom, get great quality food that's just made out of that kitchen, get a great environment, get great service, or you can sit at home and get a dodgy franchisee that's making it in a kitchen and he's delivering it to you and it's not as fresh. Well, you compromise your content. And I ask you all, if you're operators, you live and die by your content. And if you have poor content, you won't exist. And then once you've got great content, you've got to create traffic to that content. But do not compromise on your content. So I think there's going to be a rude awakening for some of these delivery guys. I really do. There's certainly going to be a major fallout in terms of who's going to survive and who's not going to survive. But You know, the writing is on the wall. Look at the state of the S&P and the NASDAQ at the moment. I think NASDAQ's lost 30%, year to date. I mean, investors are going to pull the rug on some of this because I don't really see how they're going to make money because I don't really believe in the content. I like the convenience, but I don't really. I think you're compromising the content. But that doesn't mean all technology is bad because we did things like roll out a membership card here, a loyalty card, black card, and we now know all the visitors to Boxpark. We give them loads of offers, proper authentic offers. Like today, you can get 50% off drinks here on a Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So, but you need a black card to have it. So it's not. We call it like the Tesco's Club card versus the Boots Advantage card. No one wants a really boot. No Boots. You don't get the immediate satisfaction. Club card, you get 50% off straight away.
Yeah.
I'm straight in there.
Yeah, but that's a transaction, is it, between the offer and the fact that you're getting people's data as well?
Yeah, but it's immediate gratification.
Yeah.
So people understand immediate gratification if they can get. So that's what we try to do with what we're doing. Not like just have data for data's sake, but actually give something back.
Well, we're going to have a bit of immediate gratification.
Yeah, you're going to have free drinks.
So, final question.
I was on a roll.
Okay. Any more questions for Roger? Then?
Do you want to? I'll tell you something, right? Okay. Now you should have asked me this question, so I'll answer it. Okay. Okay. So I started Boxpark, okay, and we built our EBITDA up to 5 million. Pre-COVID, we were 1 week away from signing the deal with Lloyd's Development Capital, and COVID came along, right? And we lost about 10 million-ish off the value, okay? But we had only 3 sites. We did have a pipeline of sites coming. Anyone want to hazard a guess what a valuation we got? Anyone? Come on, Robin. Do you know? We got a 40 million plus valuation, okay, on the company. So what I'm trying to establish there is if you just focus on doing something really well and really, like I heard the question earlier about going abroad and stuff like that. If you just focus an immediate thing, that was just from 3 sites, because you're leaving something on the table for the next investor. So just don't be in a hurry just to run out there and put loads of sites out there. Focus on getting that first few really working, and then maybe a private equity will come on board, maybe a private investor, and they'll roll it out further.
Leaving something on the table.
Yeah.
So when you've had all this time out, you've done your courses, you've come back in looking at investments and non-execs. How high up will hospitality companies be on your list of companies?
Oh, way up, because I think they're technology proof. I mean, the reality is that it's technology. As I said, technology proof. People are going to have more spare time on their hand. You already see this, especially with this work from home sort of malarkey. So
I've been working from home for years.
I know, but yeah, that's another reason, though.
There you go.
That's because that's where your office is. Yeah. But, so as a result of that, you're going to have more leisure time, and people are going to want to have better and better quality restaurants, better and better content in what they've got. In the end, I'll go back to that. I think I've been in the sort of retail industry now for 30 or 40 years, and I think we sometimes really overcomplicate it. So retail, hospitality, it's all the same. There's, I believe, only 3 major things that you need to focus on, and I'll reiterate them. Number 1 is your content, everything about your content. So our content here is the quality of the food units that we got outside, the quality of the drink, the quality of events, and the quality of the leisure, and the quality of the ambience, and the quality of the customer service. But you've got to be fanatical about that. You've just got to be, down to, crossing every T, dotting every line, fanatical, looking at everything, okay? And then you can have the best content in the world, but if you don't create traffic to that content, you won't exist. So you've got to really focus on traffic. And unfortunately, traffic nowadays is that. It really is. It's making sure you get eyeballs on the phone. But how do you do that? By creating really proper, rich, organic content that gives everyone that fear of missing out, That's my brief to our marketing team. Make everyone have a fear of missing out
Yeah.
to come to Boxpark. And then finally, you've then got to convert that content and that traffic into sales. But don't let the bean counters in your company control everything. Put on a pedestal the content guys and the marketing guys who will get you that content and traffic, and the operational guys, because they're the one that will eventually generate the opportunity for the money people. Yeah?
Roger Wade, thank
There
you
you go.
very much.
You're welcome.
This Top Table podcast is sponsored by Freeze, Chapman Ventilation, QSR Automations, and RSM. Our Peach podcasts are always free to listen to. To find us, search Peach 2020, The Top Table, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, or in any app that supports podcasts. All our podcasts are also uploaded to our YouTube channel. Now, don't forget to like, rate, and subscribe to make sure you don't miss our future episodes.
Podcast from Peach 2020, hosted by Peter Martin.